Hello, citizens of the Nigerverse. It is Niger once again, and this is going to be another predictions video. It's time to shift things into another gear, but not just any gear. It's time to shift things into a full gear. It's time for AEW's full gear, and what a night it's going to be taking place in Newark, New Jersey. And we got quite the card now. Of course, a couple things before we get into it. For starters, this is just the order that they have these matches in, so we'll just go kind of down the list. Doesn't necessarily mean this will be the order of things come showtime. The order of the matches, I should say, come showtime. But the other thing is, we are going to, if you see the predictions of mine before, you kind of know this works, but if you haven't, then we're going match by match, talk about who I think is going to walk out victorious, and what I think is going to be the strongest, weakest match of the night, and we will kind of go from there. But first, we have the pre-show matches as Big Boom AJ takes on QT Marshall. AJ is one of the Costco guys on TikTok, if I'm not mistaken, which admittedly not super familiar with TikTok, but I think they do have a YouTube channel as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so he's kind of been in a feud with QT Marshall, who has kind of been more in the background. He left AEW for a bit, came back, is now kind of works behind the scenes, but is going into another match here, which is interesting to see. But the other thing that's interesting to see is how much marketing AJ has done for the match. Now, AJ, from what I understand, was an indie wrestler, and it definitely shows, like, promoting the match, promoting the pay-per-view, like, relentlessly, which is how marketing works. Like, a lot of people were surprised by that. Yeah, that's how you market your show. That's how you get as many eyes on your product as you can. As for who could win this one, I'm guessing it's gonna go to the, I guess, quote unquote celebrity, even though it's technically former wrestler. It's kind of a weird gray area, but yeah. So I think I'm gonna go AJ here. Then next up, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo will take on Anna Jay. Anna Jay's been getting a little bit of a push as of late, so there's a chance she could go over Deonna here. I think that might be the case. And then lastly, in four-way action, Buddy Matthews, who will take on Dante Martin, Commander, and the Beast Mordos. They'll be taking on each other, I should say. This one I could see going a number of different ways. Mordos has been kind of getting a push. Same with Buddy Matthews, has been getting a mini push as well. Dante Martin and kind of struck hiking on his own, and really I do like how Top Flight has still been kind of a team, but they kind of flirted with singles action as well. But I think this one, I think I'm gonna go with Mordos here. I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna watch these matches, so you don't watch the pre-show matches. But I think I'm gonna go with Mordos here. And also worth mentioning, one last thing is that this is just the card at the time of recording, which I think my camera's covering, where it shows the time as 5:53 p.m. Saturday. I think this is because this is late as I'm gonna be able to make this video and get away with uploading it. Although sadly, AEW does like to add matches last minute, like day of, like even hour of, at like the 11th hour, which it really does get kind of annoying, but what can you do? But next up in kind of grudge action, MJF is taking on Roderick Strong. So MJF sent out an ultimatum that whoever is the first to win 3 matches in a row between Roderick Strong and Adam Cole will get MJF at Full Gear. Of course, MJF has been feuding with Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom, stemming back to World's End, and ooh, what a tangled web we weave when it comes to this feud. Lest we forget, MJF was betrayed by Adam Cole and the rest of the Undisputed Kingdom, that being the Kingdom, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Roddy Strong here, and Wardlow. They were the masked men, and Adam Cole was the one who stole MJF's devil mask. Yet MJF is heel again, and they're being treated as faces. The amount of revisionist history being played here is kind of ridiculous. Like, it it's one thing if you wanted to, and I know this story has definitely suffered like this storyline and everything, and kind of the devil and everything has kind of suffered due to outside factors, MJF getting injured, Adam Cole being injured for quite a while, stuff like that. But the way they've gone about this, it's definitely head scratching, and like to go from MJF being betrayed by the first real friend he had, Adam Cole being the total bad guy, the Undisputed Kingdom taking over too. Who, oh no, it was Adam Cole was doing it for the greater good. Adam Cole was the good guy the whole time. MJF was the total jerk, the total heel the whole time. I'm Adam Cole was just getting back at MJF, stuff like that. Like, it's it's weird how this got set up. Now, it's one thing if you have MJF and Adam Cole feud while maintaining that, while having MJF turn heel again, and you do kind of heel versus heel, or like MJF said, you're the reason that I turned heel, you're the reason I turned on the people because you broke my trust and everything, and which they kind of alluded to when MJF came back at Double or Nothing, and I imagine this was also kind of last minute because they kind of figured, hey, we probably don't want MJF to fully turn face again. I think we want to keep him heel, which is fair. I think MJF as a face was a lot more convincing than a lot of people thought it was going to be. Like, hey, MJF made a surprisingly good face for the amount of heel work he has done but I guess ultimately the decision was made to keep him heel. But I think they went about it in all the wrong ways. Now, has WWE played revisionist history as well in the past? Yes. Have they done it this year? Yeah. But this amount of revisionist history and really trying to flip the narrative almost out of nowhere is really weird how they went about it. It's one of those things where the story almost feels like it's held together by duct tape a little bit. Like, they tried to salvage it, but they're going about it the wrong way. But nevertheless, I kind of figured it would be Roderick Strong challenging MJF here at Full Gear, and then we get MJF Adam Cole at World's End to kind of wrap the story up in a bow of where it kind of all went down, Adam Cole turning on MJF. But yeah, the way they went about it was really, really weird. Which is the perfect time for them to have a MJF Adam Cole 2-pack over at Ringside Collectibles. Go figure. But nevertheless, as for who's this one, I'm going with MJF here. MJF beats down Roderick Strong here. Defeats him here, and then goes on to his match at World's End. And so yeah, MJF kind of finding his edge again, bringing up Roderick Strong's home situation, how his mom shot his dad, which is pretty crazy, honestly. Of course, Roderick Strong did have a very tough upbringing, so the fact that Roderick Strong has come as far as he has is very inspiring. But of course, this is MJF, him tapping into the well. It's expected, but yeah, so I'm going with MJF here. Next up in a little bit of another kind of grudge match, at Switchblade Jay White once again finds himself taking on Hangman Adam Page. So these two faced off at Wrestle Dream, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe it was Wrestle Dream where they faced off at so they faced off at Wrestle Dream, but things far from over here. So they're running it back. They're doing the rematch at the next pay-per-view. They definitely killed it at Wrestle Dream, so I think them doing this pay-per-view match again, and I don't think I'm inherently against, especially because like when you think about it, like I definitely thought about it out loud. AEW doesn't usually do like repeat pay-per-view matches. Like, these guys face the pay-per-view and then they face again at the very next pay-per-view. So the fact that they're saving it for here, I'm not against. I don't hate it. But as for this one, and considering Jay White won the previous match, it be I don't think it'd be too far out of possibility to say that Hangman Page potentially gets his win back here, and then them having a kind of rubber match later on, maybe at World's End, maybe at maybe on a episode of Dynamite. But I think ultimately I'm gonna go. I think based off that logic, I think I might go with Hangman Page here. Hopefully Hangman doesn't mess up his leg this time. But next up in four-way match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, that being Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, aka Zay and Quinn, will defend against the Outrunners, that being Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd, the Kings of the Black Throne, that being Malachi Black and Brody King, and the Acclaim of Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. So, you may be wondering, Nigel, last time at Wrestle Dream, the Young Bucks beat Private Party, which they shouldn't have, but they beat Private Party. When did they win the tag team titles? Did the Young Bucks get hurt? Did they have to relinquish the titles? No. Private Party did the rematch a few weeks ago with the Young Bucks on Dynamite. The stipulation being on the Halloween episode, no less, of Dynamite, and the stipulation was that if Private Party lost, they would disband as a team. That's Isaiah Cassidy put it all on the line, much to the kind of surprise and somewhat chagrin of Mark Quinn, but nevertheless, as they put it all on the line and their teaming up on the line, and then in the end, of course, Private Party won the tag team titles from the Young Bucks. Like I said, should have been done at Wrestle Dream, but at least we got it. So now, Private Party, he wanting to find some new competition as tag team champions and battle some teams. So they had, as you can see here, a contender series. To figure out who would be challenging for the titles, the four-way here at Full Gear. Or so the Outrunners defeated Top Flight, FT. The Outrunners defeated Top Flight, the Kings of the Black Throne defeated FTR, and the Acclaim defeated LFI here. So we get these four teams. As for who's winning this one, and I think it mainly comes down to two teams. Kings of the Black Throne, it'd be cool if they won it, but I don't think they're going to win it just yet. The Acclaimed, I don't think they necessarily need the tag team titles for a little bit here. And I'm not just talking about that because of all the trouble Max Caster's been getting into on social media, more specifically Twitter, but I don't think they're winning it for now. So I think it comes down to either the Outrunners or Private Party. The Outrunners have been getting super over with the fans as of late with like their kind of cheesy, old school, literally gimmick. Meanwhile, Private Party is still really over, so I can see it coming down to either of these two teams, but I think I'm gonna go with Private Party here. I don't think they're gonna take it off of them just yet. But next up for the AEW TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné defends against Chris Statlander. So, speaking of revisionist history, Chris Statlander, her turn face like immediately after a feud with Willow Nightingale. She became a face. Hayes pretty much broke it off with Oakley Hathaway. So cool. That whole feud was almost from nothing. But nevertheless, has been gunning for Mercedes Moné and for Camille, who Camille's kind of like the muscle for Mercedes Moné. So Chris Statlander looking to get back the TBS Championship from Mercedes Moné. As for will she be able to do it, I don't think so. I think they probably are going to hold out for, probably are going to hold out for a potential Camille Mercedes Moné rivalry. A story we've seen plenty of times, and it was with like the muscle finally breaking off and going against the person they were supposed to be protecting. Hell, we've seen it in AEW with Wardlow and MJF, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Mercedes Moné getting the win here. But next up in singles action, Swerve Strickland takes on Bobby Lashley. Yes, Bobby Lashley is in AEW. The Hurt Syndicate is officially in AEW, that being him, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. And Swerve Strickland rebuffed the Hurt Syndicate. They tried to recruit him. He's having none of it. He officially rebuffed them at Wrestle Dream. So now Bobby Lashley is here, and he's going to be taking on Swerve Strickland here. So a lot of people wondered why Bobby Lashley had the match on Dynamite against Cheeseburger, and why he didn't have the match, and why he didn't just make his debut at Full Gear. And honestly, that's kind of a good question, admittedly. I imagine they probably didn't want to wait for a Full Gear to have Bobby make his debut. Probably, I guess, give the fans a little bit of taste of what they're in for when it comes to Bobby Lashley in AEW, but admittedly, it's not a super big deal. It's not really a deal breaker or anything like that. It's just kind of weird that you didn't have him make his debut or at least have this match so close to Full Gear. But nevertheless, as they're going to be fighting here, so I think I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley on this one. Bobby gets the win over Swerve here and kind of continue the rivalry between Swerve and Prince Nana and the Hurt Syndicate out. And I think this will be a feud that'll go on for a little bit, at least through the end of the year, maybe into next year as well. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Bobby Lashley on this one. But next up for the AEW TNT Championship, my apologies. He's the scapegoat. Jack Perry will be defending against Daniel Garcia. So, Daniel Garcia has been gunning for Jack Perry, even kidnapped him at one point. And Daniel Garcia wants the TNT Championship, and he absolutely should win it here. Like Danny Garcia also made it known he's not going anywhere. He's not signing with WWE. He's staying with AEW. So I think this would be as good a time as any, with Daniel Garcia really getting this good hood push and really breaking himself out even more on his own, even further, especially coming off this feud with MJF and everything. I think having him win the title here makes sense. I think Jack Perry, he made for a decent TNT champion, but I think it is as good as time as any to pop the title on Daniel Garcia. Please don't do what you did with Private Party and not pop it on him when the time is right. Sometimes you gotta strike while the iron's hot. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with Daniel Garcia here. But next up in kind of a grudge match, Will Ospreay battles Kyle Fletcher. So Kyle turned on Will Ospreay. Cost him the not TNT. Man, I cannot speak today. Cost him the International Championship, which, as you can see here, is next up on the chopping block. But cost him the International Championship against the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita. Kyle Fletcher saying he wants to be nothing like Will Ospreay anymore, or so the Don Callis family has officially all turned their back on Will Ospreay because he wasn't willing to be a bad guy. Kyle Fletcher even shaved his head and pretty much gave himself a haircut, golden locks no more. Or Kyle Fletcher, they're saying he wants to be nothing like Will Ospreay, and so is going to be battling his former friend here. At least in storyline, they're former friends. But I think in this one, I think similar to the TNT Championship match, I think this one's a layup. You give Kyle Fletcher the big win here over Ospreay. You can always have them rematch later on, but I think giving Fletcher the win here to kind of back up his claims, like having Ospreay win here would kind of be weird. Like Kyle Fletcher talking up this big game. Oh, I'm nothing like Will Ospreay. Oh, I'm not like him or anything, and then just to have him lose, I think would be kind of detrimental to him. So I think I'm gonna go with Kyle Fletcher here getting the win, but. Next up for the AEW International Championship, Konosuke Takeshita will be defending against Ricochet. So, So, I mentioned Konosuke Takeshita won the International Championship from Will Ospreay at Wrestle Dream, but it was a triple threat match, as Ricochet was also in the match. It of course stemmed from Ospreay defending the International Championship against Ricochet at the 5-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite, the 5-year anniversary episode. And so Takeshita got involved, made that a DQ and kind of a non-ending. So now Ricochet has been gunning for Takeshita and gunning for him hard. So will the Alpha drop the International Championship to Ricochet? I don't think so, but it'll still be an interesting match regardless. I think Takeshita is probably gonna, like, if Ricochet won it here, I don't think I'd be mad at Ricochet winning the International Championship here from Takeshita, but I don't think Takeshita is dropping it just yet. As for when he'll drop it and who will drop it to, that will of course remain to be seen. But for now, I think Ricochet is not quite capturing the International Championship tonight. And last but certainly not least, for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley, the leader of the Death Riders, will be defending the AEW World Championship against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. So, the Death Riders, which honestly, Death Riders a really awesome faction name for this new faction. And started up of all the names, I think Death Riders is a really good name choice. But the Death Riders have pretty much been running roughshod over AEW to the point where the entire locker room is against them and has been trying to fight them off. And Jon Moxley, he pretty much at the helm of it. Or is he, as kind of the theories suggest, he might not be. But Orange Cassidy, it's pretty much step up time for him. Everybody's been trying to get inside Orange Cassidy's head, like, hey, Orange Cassidy, it's time for you to stop being passive. It's time to really step up to Jon Moxley. So Orange Cassidy seeks to do that here. Of course, not the first time these two have faced off. Not even the first time in recent memory. They faced off for the International Championship last year at Wrestle Dream, and now it's time to, or actually All Out, I should say. Hey, it was not at Wrestle Dream, it was at All Out. But now is the time for Orange Cassidy to challenge Jon Moxley for the World Championship here. So kind of bringing that full circle in a way, kind of bringing that up to the forefront again. That being said, I don't think Orange Cassidy is winning here. Moxley is more than likely winning against Orange Cassidy here. I think this would be a good big break for Orange Cassidy, really give him a sizable push into more of the main event sphere. But I think Jon Moxley's winning here. A lot of this, I think, is gonna set up nicely to World's End. A lot of stuff that happens here that sets up nicely as we move into World's End, and I think this match is gonna be another example of that, so I'm going to go with Jon Moxley here. As for what I think will be the strongest and weakest matches of the night, the strongest, admittedly, there's kind of a few to choose from. I think all these matches have potential to be relatively strong in their own way, but I think I'll probably go maybe for the main event, and I think the main event will be a lot of fun. Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, I think it'll be fun to see what they can do. Same with Takeshita and Ricochet, at least against each other. And I think Jay White and Hangman Page will provide another fun match similar to what they did at Wrestle Dream. As for the weakest, probably the TBS Championship match, but that remains to be seen. But nevertheless, in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see it as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Full Gear, who you think is walking out victorious. Just let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.